So one of the things that has been super beneficial to me has been my patient base. I've got people who are just literally day old babies and people who are 99 years old. So I've literally I have people all the way across the gamut. And the cool thing is that I get to talk to my patients. Um, and I've learned more from my patients than I will ever learn from any book. Um, One of the things that I have learned that is wildly appropriate to this time of year is that your kids are going to grow up and they're going to leave and it's going to be terrible. I talk to parents every day who senior year, the kids are getting ready to go to school and they go to school and they're all happy for them. And then, that fall, their kids are gone and I see them again and they're like, I miss my kids. I didn't spend enough time with them. That's the thing that I hear over and over and over again. When they're gone. And that's kind of the point of being a parent, right? You want to prepare your child to go on and take on the world and do all the things and be the people they're supposed to be. And that's the whole point. Like the worst part about being a parent is that your entire job is to make yourself irrelevant, because they're prepared to go on and become you. But the thing is that for even the parents that spend a lot of time with their kids and have done a quote unquote great job raising them and they have good connections and they've got, great relationships. I hear this all the time. It's that, I wish I would have spent more time. I wish I would have done this, wish I would have done that. That is one of the biggest quality of life issues that we see. It's one of the most important things that you can kind of take a step back and recognize. It is funny to be, all the way, open on this. I love playing with other people's little kids. Like you bring me your 2 or 3 year old, I'm going to play with them and wrestle with them and it's going to be fun. And I'm going to give them back and you're going to take them home. And I would love to go back and visit the days when my kids were 2 and 3 and then come back. I don't want a 2 or 3 year old. But now my kids are 10 and 12 and they're really fun. And I like hanging out with them and I like doing stuff with them. And like last night, I got back from Atlanta, I was exhausted. And my 12-year-old wanted to go do some stuff. And it was kind of hard. I had to force myself to go do it. But I did it anyway because I wanted to be able to hang out with them. All these kids that are graduating right now, I'm talking to the parents, and this is about, some of you kids who are 25 and whatnot, or 23 or 20 who are listening. It's been rough on every one of the parents, the dads, the moms, like these people, especially the guys who have good relationships or bad relationships with their kids. I'll talk to these parents and they're like, I wish I would have spent more time with my kids. I wish I would have gone on vacations with my kids. Like when we went to Europe early last year, I had parents come back in whose kids were 25 and 30 and they're like, I wish I would have done that with my kids. Like, I wish I would have taken the time away. I wish I would have taken the time off. I wish I would have, not focused so much on work or so much on this thing or that. I wish I would have gone and done some stuff with my kids, had, created more memories with my kids. That's a giant thing. I talked to a parent last night who just, went to the banquet for their kiddos, sports event. And she was like, it's over. She's like, what do I do now? And the thing is that they have all these memories together. And I talked to another parent not too long ago whose kid was going to their banquet. And afterwards he came back and he was like, he felt horrible. He was like, there were so many pictures of my kids that I had no idea where they were from. He was like, I missed too many games. I missed too many practices. He was like, it tore me apart. He was like, because that's time I'm never going to get back. And that can be rough. Sorry, another kid. It was, anyway, he's a good guy. Made a bunch of mistakes as a dad. Still a good guy. I feel bad for his kids. I feel bad for him. And he's now recognizing it. And it's the worst hell. Anyway, it's the worst hell I've ever seen anybody go through. He's got a bunch of money. Did great in his career, lots and lots of money, lots of accolades, lost his family. And it's terrible. Health isn't great. We're getting that back, but he's never going to get that time back with his kids. And his, he's trying to work on a relationship now, but he just wasn't there for 10 years. So, that's the thing. A lot of times, with health, we end up sick or we end up hurting. Like your back hurts, or you're like, oh, I have diabetes now. And you look back and you're like, oh, here's all the mistakes I made along the way. I should have done more exercise. I should have eaten better. I should have done all the things, right? Like, and a lot of that stuff, like diabetes is like one of those things where you look at it and you're like, oh, I effed up all these times. And then, if you do what you're supposed to do, a couple months later, you're not diabetic anymore and everything's fine. Yeah, you gave away some years of your life and this and that because the diabetes is going to destroy you, but it is what it is. These decisions are the ones that destroy you forever. They're the ones that destroy your legacy. These are the most important. And I think that, it's one of those deals where you start to see them more now when it's in your face. Like, oh, kids are leaving. That's it. They're gone. They're moving out and they're going to start their lives. And you can't be like, hey, I know you're a senior. I know you're going to college. I know you're moving out to start your life, but I've messed up. Move back in and spend some more time with me. It's too late. Like that would be detrimental to them. And so you can't ask that of them. You can try to rebuild your relationship, but you're never going to get that time back. So, in my highest recommendation to you, and this goes back to the community thing. I keep complaining about that. We've lost our sense of community. If you're part of a church, if you're part of a private school, whatever, part of a football team, like your kids are 10 and they're part of the football team, go to the high school, go to the kids, go find the parents who have kids that are 5, 6, 7 years, 10 years older than yours, and hang out with them. And be like, what did you do that you found the most value? What are the things that you did that you wish you would not have done? Like these conversations are going to be the most important conversations you can have. I know because I get to have them. Like I find the parents who have phenomenal kids. And I'm like, what'd you do? What did you do to raise these kids? How did you do this? And they're like, oh, I read this book, so I will go and I'll read it. Like that's where a lot of this information comes from. This information doesn't just come because, oh, I just found it. Like I ask people who have great kids. And I ask people who are suffering, who are miserable because of what they've done with their life. I'm like, what'd you do wrong? And they'll be like, I don't know. And then like you talk to them for a minute and they're like, these are all the things I did wrong. Like they know. Like inside, unconsciously, they know. And they'll tell you if you walk it through them. And the thing is they didn't spend the time where they needed to spend the time. They didn't invest their time where they should have. So the most important thing that I can tell you as someone who gets to hang out with parents, and again, like before I had kids, I was talking to parents, of all the way up and down. Like I had parents in here who had kids who had graduated. I had parents I had 70-year-olds who could tell me all about, oh, here's what we did right and wrong with our grandkids. And so for 20 years, I've been collecting all this information. And I can tell you, the one thing that I have seen people just destroy them, and there's nothing you can say to them. The drug addicts, you can be like, well, just don't do the drugs. We'll get you ketamine, we'll get you over, we'll get you psychedelics. Like we will clear the addiction, and then you'll be able to build your life back up. You can't do that if you've lost the time with your kids. And I know a lot of you guys are, maybe have kids who are seniors. Maybe you have kids who just left for college, and you're like, great, thanks for telling me too late. Perfect. You take that information and you go find younger people and tell them and talk to them. This isn't something that we have to maintain as a society. So, we can go back and we can talk to these people all the time. So if you've got kids, regardless of where they're at, find the parents who have kids who are a little bit older than you and find the parents who have kids a little bit younger than you. And you guys need to start talking about the things that worked and the things that didn't work, not what they should and shouldn't do. That's not what we're talking to you guys about. I'm not trying to tell you like, you should go and tell somebody how to live their life. Don't. Just be like, here are the things that didn't work so well for me, whether you know why or not. And here are the things that, seemed like really to work well. And the easy thing is, and I'm not pushing travel agents or anything, but one of the things that I will tell you that I remember from all the way back, like I remember stories, I can tell you stories from when I was 7, 8, 9 years old, skiing and hanging out with my parents. I don't remember a single thing that happened in school or anything else. Like I can tell you stories of being in the car with my dad when we were going hunting. Listen to my uncle and my dad talk about business and stuff like that when I was like 7 or 8 or 9. I can't remember anything from school. I don't remember any of that type of stuff. I remember all the vacations we took as a family. And I remember a lot of the time I spent, going hunting with my dad. I definitely remember working out with my mom. So and we say this a lot, but and I want to be another, just, pound this into your head, all children, and actually a lot of people, wives, husbands, brothers, sisters, best friends, you spell love TIME. The more time you spend, the more things you do, the more they'll remember you. So take those vacations. You don't have to spend $50 million and go, rent a yacht and do it. Like, that's not, like, get in a car and go drive. Like, be like, all right, we're going to jump in the car this weekend. We're going to take Friday off. We're going to leave Friday afternoon, and we're going to drive down to wherever. It doesn't really matter. Go see a, park in a different state. Doesn't matter. Spend the time in the car and just talk to them and tell funny stories and that type of stuff. Like, that's the stuff that you guys are going to miss, when your kids are graduating and you're sitting there and you're like, what did I do? Like, did I, where's my relationship? So, that's the thing, I would recommend to you the most, is to recognize where your time is and recognize what's important. Because that's, at the end of the day, like, that's where it's more important. I have so many patients who will tell me how poor they were, but how much fun they had with their mom and their dad. I know everybody's like, well, I got to feed them. You do. And I get that. And you got to put clothes on them and all the things. And I'm not arguing against that. I realize how difficult this whole thing is, but factor that one in. Factor in hanging out with them, factor in talking to them, factor in, how you're going to feel when they're not around anymore. Not that they're dead, but when they're like in college or they're off living their life and they're not in your house anymore. So really think that one through, because that's going to be, when we talk about stress, when we talk about regret, when we talk about emotional damage that we got to repair, this is a giant piece for both the parent and the kid. I mean, my God, just look at all the stats we have on, kids who grew up without a father and how messed up they are. So this is not just good for you, it's good for them. It's really, really important. Think it through. Talk to the parents who are a little bit older, a little bit younger. Because here's the thing: you get the gems of information from the people that we need to talk to when they're kids, kids who are older than yours, and you get to be the guy who gives the advice to the kids who are younger than you. That's sharing. That's how this is supposed to work. That's how a community is supposed to work. You go up to the guys who are older and you're like, tell me the important things that you wish someone would have told you. And then when you go to the guys who have kids 4, 5, 6 years younger than you, be like, here's the things I wish I would have known when I was your age. Done. That's it. Start there. And that's one of those things that, this time of year, this is what we start to see. And so, so it's horrible. And I feel terrible for these people, but that's where they are. So you share this with everybody, kind of make sure everybody kind of gets this idea, go talk to them about it. We need, as a society, to start changing the way our society works. No one's going to change it for us. We got to do it ourselves. And so I would highly recommend that if you've got kids who have graduated, you go back to those schools, those booster clubs, those, football teams and track teams and, youth groups and whatever, and you go find those parents and you're like, hey, let's talk. Like, as far as churches go, if you guys are members of a church, you should be implementing this. You should be like, hey, I need the guys who are like all the different age groups, like separated by, like, say 5 years, figure it out on your own, time-wise, and be like, we're going to get these parents to talk to these parents, to talk to these parents. Like, here's how it's going to go. We're just going to, like, organize this function so that you guys have the ability to talk. If you guys are members of a church, ask your church to do this. If you guys are members of a football booster club, ask your football booster club to start doing this. Here's the other thing with the football deal. Like, we were, like, at Jinx, we were dominant. Like, with 6A, we crushed everybody because we had the high school working with the middle school, and the middle school working with the elementary school. We ran the same plays. We talked to everybody. Everybody was kind of in there. So it'll even benefit your athletics. just make sure you guys are doing this. If you guys have any questions, hit us up, questions@chalmerswellness.com, or drop them in the comments. You guys have a fantastic day.